to thank you for joining us this evening. Your presenter for this evening will be Lion Shonda Ford. Um, you will allow me to just introduce her to you and a little about her background. Lion Shonda was introduced to Lionism when she became a member of the Lions Club of Bridgetown in November of 1992. She held the position of Public Relations Officer, Secretary, President, and Coordinator of the Leo conferences in 1997. She was awarded International Leo of the Year during the Lionistic year 1995 to 1996 for outstanding leadership capabilities and community service during her tenure as Leo president. Lion Shanda became a member of the Lions Club of Bridgetown during November 2000 and served as secretary during the Lionistic year 2001 2002. She was awarded the most outstanding secretary of Region 3 in the same year. Lion Shanda also became a graduate of the Leadership Institute in 2002. During the year 2002 to 2003, she held the position of Sub-District 60B Cabinet Secretary slash Treasurer and also received the International President Award for Outstanding Service to Sub-District 60B. Lions Shanda was elected the fifth female president of the Lions Club of Bridgetown during the Lionistic year 2008-2009, and the club worked assiduously in promoting literacy programs. She has traveled throughout the Caribbean, attending convention, cabinet meetings, and several international convention. She has also participated in numerous seminars and workshops on Lionism, as well as the Leo advisor for the Leo Club of Bridgetown on more than one occasion. She is particularly proud of being one of the key drivers in the rebuilding of the Leo Club of Bridgetown during the year 2015 2016. She served as zone chairperson for the Lionistic year 2016 to 2017 and was awarded the most outstanding chairperson in Sub-District 60B. She remains a strategic resource to the Lionism in general and is always willing to be given the opportunity to pass on knowledge and information to fellow Lions and Leos. She is currently serving as club secretary and will continue to do so in the Lionistic year 2026, 2027. Lion Shanda has an MBA in International Banking and Finance from the University of Birmingham, United Kingdom, a Bachelor of Science, upper second class honors in accounting from the University of the West Indies, and an associate degree in computer studies from the Barbados Community College, uh, which she earned in 1994. She became the first Barbadian to be certified anti-money laundering specialist in 2004 and is a member of the Association of Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialists, ACAMS. During August of 2014, she successfully completed Advanced CAMS Audit Certification Program and again was the first Bayesian to be awarded the prestigious qualification. She is currently pursuing to be a trust and estate practitioner by pursuing the STEPS Advanced Certification course. At present, Lion Shanda is a vice president and the group chief compliance officer for the largest international private wealth management bank in Barbados. Her responsibilities include risk management and compliance, serving the markets of Canada, South Africa, and Latin America. Lion Shanda has one daughter, Leo Natalia, who is a member of the Leo Club of Bridgetown. Lion Shanda comes to you with over 3 decades of experience in Lionism. There is hardly anyone more qualified to present to you this evening. And so I ask you to join me in welcoming Lion Shanda. You can do so with the clap of hand icon. Lion Shanda, it's over to you.
Okay, thank you, Lion Roger. And fellow Lions, good evening. First of all, I must apologize for such a long intro, but Lion Roger, I'm not throwing him under the bus. He reached out to me 10 minutes before the presentation, asked for my bio. So this was the one that I had at hand, and I was hoping that he would have summarized it. So anyhow, but
Hey,
I'm really heartened on a Friday evening to be sharing with you the role of the secretary. And when I refer to secretary, I'm referring to both Lion and Leo. After 25 years of being a secretary, because my last stint as a secretary was in 2001, I came back this year and so many things have changed. So I am happy to do this presentation today. And so for the next, it's going to be very practical. I'm going to share with you the attributes and skills of a secretary, the key responsibilities, reporting requirements. But more importantly, I'm going to take you through the Lions portal using live examples when I log into my under my login for the Lions Club of Bridgetown, because there were some recent activities. So I thought that I will use this opportunity to walk you through the process. Okay, but before we get to the good stuff, the attributes and skills of a club secretary really should importantly have a good rapport with the Lion or Leo president and the members, because this is the person who is the key engine of the club, who will be communicating information, who will be sharing upcoming projects, and so on. So it's important to have those excellent interpersonal skills, friendly. That's important because you're often the face of the club. And especially for if new persons are looking to become members of the club, it's important that you make persons feel warm and welcome and want to be part of this service organization. A team player, efficient, dedicated, and more importantly, comfortable with technology. And as we complete this presentation today, you will realize that technology now has become very important in the whole improving the administrative efficiency of the club. There are lots of benefits as club secretary, and I have this from a personal perspective, and some of these things you may resonate with you. Closer contact with members, so you get to know the ins and outs and the personalities of your members. You serve as a strategic club resource, having information at your fingertips. You improve as well the knowledge on Lionism and the Leo Club movement, and you build on all of these. This type of information prepares you to be a future line leader, whether you move on to be a zone chairman, a zone secretary, a region chairman, or even district governor. All these are building blocks in becoming a future line leader. It also enhances the membership experience. So it's not just service, but in terms of fellowship with your members. You serve as a great ambassador to the club. So you're the one who knows all the ins and outs of your club, the history, and the information, the projects, liaison with the committee chairpersons. And overall, it's the opportunity to strengthen the operations of your club, improving that administrative efficiency, and adding value to your club profile in the community. The key responsibilities of the club secretary: you're really the president's right hand or the club's right hand. You liaison between your club, Lions International, and the district governor. You also serve as a member of the district governor's zone advisory committee. You maintain membership records and other records of the club via the Lions portal. And of course, reporting activities and projects via the Lions portal. Back in 2001, when I was secretary, it was a lot more reports. You reported to international, you reported to the district governor, you reported to the zone chairman and the region chairman. So this Lions portal now is really the step in the right direction, where all the information on your club activities is in one location with specific persons having access to the information. Other responsibilities of the club secretary: you assist the club president in preparation of reports at zone meetings and any other requests. Preparation of correspondence such as donation letters, appreciation letters, partnership requests, invitations, official visit requests, and so on. You receive the correspondence and you try to respond as promptly as possible to correspondence. Back in 2001, when I was secretary, a lot of time was spent on mailing letters. Now you can email. Email is the preferred method of sending out communication. It cuts down on time and you can easily follow up with a telephone call. Other responsibilities: you inform the members on zone, region, and district activities, as well as international. You're the custodian and general records of the club, including minutes, board, general, and any other meetings, attendance records, including makeups, committee meetings and reports, minutes, members, information, their contact details. Elections, including nomination and election notices. So the secretary is responsible for sending out this type of information. Also communicating upcoming events to members. Also, the secretary is responsible for collecting membership dues and hand over to the treasurer and obtain a receipt. Circulating financial reports to the directors and members, and this information would come from the treasurer, and this information will be circulated to the members, and update members on other financial obligations in conjunction with the treasurer. I thought that I would put in a few slides on attendance and makeup rules. And this becomes important because persons cannot always make it to meetings. And in lieu of a meeting, you get a credit for attendance. So that makeup, so sometimes persons, they're often awarded 100% attendance, but sometimes when you look at the profile, it's not necessarily coming to meetings, but the makeup rules allow to add to your attendance, and it creates a better picture of the average attendance of the club. So any absence from a regular Lions or Leo meeting may be made up within 13 days before or 13 days after the missed meeting. So if, for example, your club meeting was on Monday and you missed it, and there was an activity 13 days before that you attended, you can get a makeup or 13 days after. The makeup credit may be earned by attending another Lions or Leo meeting, whether it's regular or special, your home club directors meeting, a duly constituted standing committee meeting of the members club. So for example, a fundraising committee or a service chair committee, a membership committee. So those are, you can use those in lieu if you miss the meeting. Any meeting or activity scheduled or sponsored by the members' own club, including fundraising and service activity, a multiple district or Lions Club international meeting, convention, or generally a recognized Lions meeting. So for example, if you're traveling and you miss your meeting, you were able to attend a Lions meeting in another country, within that 13-day period, that makeup can be awarded as well. As I mentioned, a meeting or activity of another service club or recognized community organization, and if accepted by the club's board as a valley makeup. Attendance credit is automatically granted due to illness, military service, jury duty, or other statutory requirements. Extended occupational duties in a place where the Lion or Leo cannot readily attend, the club may grant credit at its discretion, but the secretary is responsible for verifying the attendance requirements. Okay, reporting requirements. I'm going to take you through a structured step-by-step process, the importance of accurate reporting, accurate activity recording on the Lions portal, because it helps the club keep track of contributions and align with the global Lions initiatives. It also is an opportunity to earn visibility and recognition by proper documentation of your activities, and it ensures transparency, visibility, and recognition of your service efforts worldwide. So the navigation and data entry guidance, you as Lions will learn how to navigate the portal and enter data correctly for effective submission. So the purpose of the service activity is really recording and capturing your sterling service activities for accurate measurement of community impact. Tracking volunteer contributions, participation in the service hours, and individuals served for effective impact analysis. Organizational reporting and accountability, you're documenting your activities, support reporting, grant allocation, global achievements, and it really demonstrates transparency in your operations. And through this reporting on the Lions portal, you're organizing the club records to analyze past performance, plan initiatives, and build stronger community relationships. Okay, before I move, I stop this screen because I have to log in. I want to share with you that all service activities, and you will see this when I go through some examples, all service activities must have a cause, a project type, a description, a start date, and an end date. There are some additional metrics for activity that are also captured in reporting on the Lions portal. So information, for example, a meeting, the total volunteers, the total persons at a meeting, service projects, the total volunteer hours, it should be total volunteers, I'll make that change, and total volunteer hours, and the people served. Additional metrics for activity, like for example, a fundraiser. Fundraisers also, you indicate the total funds raised, and donations are also logged in terms of reporting, total funds donated and the organization that benefited from those funds donated. Okay, there's some important rules on reporting. So I'm going to go through the whole slide and then we can switch over to the Lions portal. So any club member can create and update a service activity, but only designated title can report the service activity. So for example, the fundraising chairperson can create the service activity, but he cannot complete the activity. When I say, I will show you what I'm referring to when I give examples on reporting on the portal. So they can enter the information, but they cannot hit the complete and report the activity automatically to Lines International because they don't have that permission. And that permission is embedded in your profile. And that's why it's important that on the Lions portal that you have the club level titles like the president, the secretary, like your officers, because at the club level, only the president, the secretary, the service chair, and the club administrator can complete the reporting process where that service activity is logged then directly to Lions International. At the district and multiple district level, the titles on behalf of the club will be the district governor, the cabinet secretary, secretary treasurer, or the district or multiple district administrator. Title permissions assigned in the portal, titles that can assign officers at the individual club level, as I mentioned before, the club president, the club secretary, the club administrator, the district administrator. Okay, and I conclude the presentation with some useful resources. The club officer guide. The club officer guide, it has for all the key positions such as the treasurer, the president, and so on. But specifically, I want you to, because the presentation will be circulated, it contains information on reporting membership changes in the Lions portal, membership types, new member induction ceremony, frequently asked questions, frequently asked, that's not facts, that should be FAQ, family membership program, life membership application, club change name, forms, club merger form, and club rebuilding and reactivation. So these are very important tools that if there are circumstances where the club like for example, has to make a change of its name, these are the tools that the secretary would have to complete and have access to. And the other guide that I thought useful because in this presentation, I know you will not be able to get with the Lions portal, but I decided to share with you a quick guide, a service activity full walkthrough, which is accessible from Lions International, but I've placed the link here. It takes you through how to sign into the Lions portal, create the service activity, how you can edit the activity, how you save the enter data, report activity complete, and recap and reviewing the service activity before it's reported to Lions International. And also I would have included a guide, create a new assignment. And this is useful for Lions now who have to enter the officers for 2026 to 2027. And this guide here takes you through how to do it. Okay, and my contact information that you can always reach out to me. So before I switch over to log into the portal, are there any questions before I say I have a bumper crowd, 43 persons. That is excellent. So there must be someone who has a question. Before I switch over, I re-log into the Lions portal. Any questions? I would align Roger. I can't see if any hands. Lion.
Right. No, I don't see anything in the chat. And oh yes, there's a hand. There is a raise of hand. Whose hand is this?
Hi, Amika.
Yes, just unmute yourself and go ahead
Yes,
with it.
it is. So, hi, good night, everyone. Lana Mika from Dominica. I've served on numerous other committees, I guess, from moving from being a Leo to a Lion, and moving from the Leo board to the Lions board. But as a past secretary, I guess, for a few years, etc., what advice would you give somebody who has never done it on the, I guess, the Lions Club level before?
Okay.
What advice would you give for somebody trying it out for the first time?
Okay. Well, one of the things that I would suggest is that that the previous secretary or a dedicated resource in the club who is familiar with the portal to have like a one-on-one session with you to walk you through the process. And I'm glad that you raised that because as Lions, we need to do like a lot more like on the study. I know sometimes we're short of resources, but like if especially like if as a secretary, you have an assistant secretary and you could work alongside that person to walk you through the portal. So this session, I'm hoping that coming out of this session that you would get a few tips from the experience with where I will show you how to log on. But it is not it's not difficult because I was a little bit, to be honest, after 25 years being not being a secretary, I felt very intimidated um, going into the portal and getting a feel for it. But Lion Sai, my fellow Lion, who was a secretary previously, he would have walked me through, and it was like 15 minutes, and I was able to grasp it. And it's not difficult. So any other questions? I hope that that was helpful. Um, if not, I'm going to share my screen now. You. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm seeing it.
You're seeing it? You're seeing a
Lions International's
Oh, you're
web
seeing it.
page.
Okay, all
Yes.
right. And you're still seeing it, right? Because I'm seeing something different on my screen.
Yes, you're now on the Lions portal. Says
Okay, great.
welcome.
So the assumption is that by now most persons would know how to, all right, persons would know how to get into the portal, right? And this is usually like what you would see um, on the portal. So what I'm going to take you through now is how to create a service activity. And this is the information for the Lions Club of Bridgetown. So the first thing that you do is you create a service activity. And you click on Bridgetown. Lion Roger, you're still seeing my steps, right?
Yes, I am following you.
Okay,
I am seeing the
okay.
activity being pursued.
All right, I have a number of screens here, and you enter the title of the project. So the one that I'm going to do is the breakfast program. It is a weekly breakfast program that we do at the George Lamming School. And the Lions Club of Bridgetown is assigned to this project on every Tuesday of the month. So we would have completed Tuesday this week, and this is identified as a service project. You click next. Right. And you will notice there on the screen, it has the record type, it's a service project, the title, breakfast program, George Lamin Primary School, the start date, you click on it looks like a pen, so you edit the start date. And this project was held on Tuesday the 2nd. The end date, and these are mandatory fields. It finished the same day, the 2nd. And the cause is hunger. And if you see here, you have like all the global causes. And if it doesn't fit into those global causes, you would select other humanitarian service. And I will give you another example of humanitarian service. The project type is hunger initiatives for women and children. It's very broad. I guess this is the closest thing that I can select. And then here is where the description is entered. And for the interest of time, I would have already typed up the information for the description. And this is where it's entered. So here I have the club partner with Mount Olive Holy Temple Church and the constituency of St. Michael Central. I would have outlined in the description the intended purpose of the project, where we are looking to provide a nutritious breakfast for students whose families cannot afford to give them breakfast. And at the same time, the club is supporting a healthy and productive avenue for our children to start the day. And I would have, even though there is a part to include how, like, from the time the project started, I still included in the write-up 59 children were served and how many Lions participated, right? So it is a signature activity of the club, so I would tick that box. The number of persons served on that particular day was 59 children benefited. The total volunteer hours were about 3 hours. And the total volunteers were 2 Lions, along with 3 other persons from the church. So the total volunteers were 5. We had non-Lions participated. There were no funds raised in this particular instance. The organization that benefited was the George Lamin School, George Lamin Primary School. Additional details, like when the project started, we started around 6:30 a.m. and concluded it was around 9 o'clock, thereabout. Right. The school is located in Welches. It's in Barbados. Right, at this point here now, you can save. Right. Okay, I'm also going to show you how to upload images. So I'm going to upload some images related to the project. Okay, I see a hand. I recognize line Pauline.
Line Shonda, just to get some clarification, where you have the hours, you have 3 hours, and which I guess gather from 6:30 to 9:30. 3 hours, but there were 5 volunteers. Wouldn't the hours be different from 3 hours because you multiply the hours by the amount of lions that were there?
But each lion spent 3 hours. So it would not be, I don't think it would be 15 hours because we spent each person who was there were there for 3 hours.
Well, we were told that's how we calculate the hours. It's each person times the time spent. I don't know if there's anybody else on here that
Yeah,
can
well, that is the thing.
confirm.
I know years ago that used
I'm
to
a little
happen.
confused.
So
Okay.
I don't know if you may want to mouse over that little information button that's there, Lion Shanda, because it's a good question, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But the computer may be doing that calculation for you because you have the total number of volunteers. So if it is the case that the computer is doing some calculation, then the computer then apply 5 times 3 in the back end, possibly. So what you may want to do is to look at the information tab there to see exactly what it is expecting you to enter.
Okay. All right. Enter the total hours of all volunteers for this service activity. A cap of 1,200 club service activity will be applied once the activity is reported to LCI. So it says the total hours. I was interpreting it as 5 persons volunteer and they spend 3 hours each. But I guess it may be 15. I see some other hands up. So let's hear Lion. Is it Lion Chris and Lion Janet?
Yes, actually, I was actually just raising my hand on the issue of the volunteer hours. So the formula for the calculation of the volunteer hours is actually the number of hours actually spent on the project by the number of lions. So if
Yes,
there were 5 of them,
it
it
will be
would be
15.
15 hours
Yes.
and not 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the computer doesn't do any calculation in the back end. In that
Well,
case,
the
you have to
thing
put
is
it
that,
down.
And
no.
okay,
the calculation in the back end that would happen is that there is a rate that is applied to the number of volunteer hours for the club, and that happens in the back end. So
Okay.
it's important for all of the lions to capture the actual volunteer hours that is actually applied. So if it's a 1 hour project and you had 5 lions there, it would have been 5 hours. Yeah.
Perfect.
okay, okay. Well, I'm glad we're having this discussion because in this case, there were only 2 lions who assisted, and we spent about 3 hours there. And then the other
Oh,
3 volunteers.
with the volunteer hours as well, you may also you may also want to apply the volunteer hours outside of the actual project activity on the day. So sometimes there may also be volunteer hours that may be applied to a person who may have been organizing. So sometimes this is why the secretary role becomes important, because the secretary may have to actually also capture, the service chair also may capture these volunteer hours as well that is applied outside of the day of the activity. So all
Yeah.
of that actually goes in. So sometimes the planning and those things. So sometimes you have to actually adjust the volunteer hours on the system to account for all of those excess hours that may
Okay.
take. But you may not get it precisely sometimes. So sometimes you actually have to use your estimate as well.
Yeah, because right here, if you look at the requirement metrics, it has here only for volunteer hours. And there's no separation like in terms of lions, as opposed to like persons who partner with you on the project. All right, let me recognize Lion Janet.
Okay, I concur with Lion Chris because sometimes the project not only take the actual day and we would either work it out and put it into the remark section where it says the total amount. You know, you might be transporting stuff, and so it's not actually on just the day when the project is carried out. There are so many things behind the scene that you need to
Okay.
add the date that make the total hours for the project, as well as I wanted to ask a question even about the value. Previously, you would have the different professional. There's a charge that is separated. You know, no, we don't know what is exactly the charge if you for the hours.
Right. Okay, but if you look here on the portal, right, it only has like you're only collecting metrics on if total like funds raised, and in this particular case, no funds were raised. Total funds donated. In this case, we would have like provided the breakfast items. So that there's a cost associated with purchasing those items. So it was donated in kind. Yeah.
Even
Oh,
Lanchanda, even for
yes.
the items that are donated in kind, you actually have to value them
Okay.
and
Yes.
quantify it into, you have to quantify it into the actual amount. So in order for you to donate something, you would have had to raise it. So what you would have raised, if you would have raised X amount of like sometimes for some projects, the Lions may just go and purchase the items, the gifts, or
Yeah.
whatever, and they bring that, right?
Or
Typically what the
sometimes
Lions
they're
actually supposed
donated.
to do, they're supposed to share the value of their contribution. And the secretary will compile that value and indicate it in the report there, right? Now there's a thing about raised and donated. So in order for you to actually donate something, you would have had to raise it. So
Yes.
you have to actually reflect that. So if you donated the value, and now I think they're taking it all in US dollars. So
Yes,
you
it's
may
all in
even have to
US
do
dollars.
so you may even have to do the conversion as well.
Right. Because what tends to happen is that the club may allocate, say, 150 US to cover the project for 3 months. So then you have to be then like break that down, and then like how much then out of that you spend on the actual purchasing the breakfast items. So there's a lot more effort into preparing the the report. All right. Any other questions before we move on to like how you can upload images? All right, I would have this. I would have placed some images.
Uh,
Right.
even before you go on, launch on that, I think there's also an important note to mention that there's a cap on certain activities in terms of
Yes.
persons served
Yes.
and also the number of funds raised for particular activities and donated. So there's a cap per activity on that as well on the portal, but that's
Yeah.
built in.
Yeah,
So
this is here. Enter right. Enter the total amount of funds raised for this service activity. A cap of it looks like 250,000. Yeah.
USD.
Yeah. Per club activity.
There's all to add as well, Lion Shandan, to what Lion Chris just said, Lion Addo here. There's also a cap in terms of when you're reporting, for example, how you value the projects. There is a cap in terms of how much your project should or can value, and the number of I think hours when you calculate the man hours in terms of the total number of valued hours. There is also a cap for that as well.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Right. And you can see where I have the mouse on the cursor. You can see that?
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. So I would have inserted an image. I think there's another one. Okay. Oh, just looking for there was supposed to be another image, but anyhow, there's one here.
Yeah.
So then you click on upload the image.
Image uploaded.
Right, and you will see here image uploaded successfully. And if you review here, you would see the image. Okay, and you can see then when all the information related to the project is entered, you save. And recall in the presentation, I would have mentioned where persons can enter, create the service activity, but only the designated persons with permission, such as secretary, president, the club administrator, or the service chairperson, can hit complete. And then the project then is reported to LCIF. And if you go back, right, so here now will be the details. And if you go back to the service, you will see in the profile here, the breakfast project that was just entered. Okay. Okay. All right, any questions before I go into another example? Any hands? Oh,
I don't see anything in the chat or any
okay, good.
hand at this time. But what if you wanted to edit something in that entry you made just now? Would you be able to do so having submitted it?
I think so. Let's test it and see. Um,
Oh, it would seem so.
So you can edit by going to the edit tab
yeah, the
next
tab.
to copy. Yeah.
Yes, and these figures up here would have changed. The volunteer hours would have gone up.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Thank
you
you.
can go back and edit. All right, let's switch to an example of where you're putting in a general meeting, because it has that option where you can put in a general meeting. So this one is a little different. So my club general meeting was the 3rd of June. And here it is always administration. And the option is activities in strengthening club. So I have a description here that I would put in. The meeting had about, at that meeting, we had about 16 lions were present. All right. I think it was about 16 lions were present. And the hours of the meeting, we started around 6 and finished around 8. So in this case, the volunteer hours would be 32?
Yes.
32, okay. I'm always challenged with this part here because when you say people serve, we didn't have any refreshments. We didn't do any, it wasn't like any service, but we raised $51 coming out of tail twisting and the raffle proceeds. So I would normally put that there. And the club itself would have benefited. We started around 6. And we finish around 8. Okay. And we'll give you an example of how images can be entered. View the image. Any comments or feedback before I hit complete?
Only to say that unless persons were unless you actually organize service activities, only then you could actually report persons served. However, if this meeting was online training, it would have been reported as a service project, right? If it's hosted by the club. However, if persons from another club would have attended, when they are reporting, they would have reported it as attending a meeting.
Yes.
Right. So that thing, and they would only report the members of their club that attended the meeting
Okay.
for the service hours.
Okay.
Also, it's also important to consider that the volunteer, when you're considering the volunteer hours, you're not only considering the Lions who would have attended. So if you had guests, you'll also incorporate the
Include
guests
those.
into the numbers as well. So
Okay.
that's also important for both these service activities and reporting
Yeah.
the meetings. And it's also important too, because I believe that there's quite a bit of under-reporting because some of our clubs do not report their subcommittee meetings, their duly constituted
Yeah.
subcommittee meetings, but those are also supposed to be reported as well.
Yeah.
Because all of that not only contributes to the volunteer hours, but it helps to give you a picture as to what kind of time commitments is
Yes.
really taking to be involved and to volunteer on a
Okay.
whole.
Yeah, that's a
So it
good
helps with the
point.
metrics.
I have another scenario too. Okay, let me just complete this here for discussion. If a club goes to a church service, for example, and members give the club goes to church as part of their anniversary week, and the club makes a contribution to the church for the social outreach program. That will be considered a service project.
Uh, it depends. If you're
Mhm.
given the donation, I would report it as a donation
A donation.
because some activities are non-reportable activities.
Yes,
So the church service in and of itself may not be a
a
reported
project.
activity. Yeah. So in that case, there's a donation tab. So
Yes.
you actually report the donation and what you would have given, raised and donated. So that will take care of that on the
Okay.
portal.
All right. So then I'm able to show an example of a donation. This particular one is that the club donated $610 towards the cost of the construction of a prosthetic leg for a person in need. So, is that a donation or
That
let me
that one can actually go between both humanitarian
yes,
service
a
and
human.
donation.
Okay.
So that one is actually like how you intend to frame it. So because is actually supporting someone with direct need,
Mm-hmm.
you can report the humanitarian service,
Yeah.
but you may want to reflect also the funds raised and donated in that report.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's try with
Oh, and it's also to note that sometimes some projects may actually generate more than one report.
oh.
So you may do a health fair,
Mm-hmm.
and on that health fair, you would have done blood sugar testing, you would have
Mm-hmm.
done um, eye screening,
Mm-hmm.
right? To actually capture the correct metrics, you may have to generate two reports, in
Okay.
one dealing with the vision screening and the other dealing with the blood pressure testing. Now, it will not be double reporting
Mm-hmm.
because in that, you may serve 30 persons, let's say, for the blood pressure testing, and
Mm-hmm.
another 30 persons in eye testing. It is actually 30 and 30. So
Okay.
it's not a double report.
Okay.
Sometimes you may serve more persons in the blood pressure and they don't do eye testing, and those variants also applies as well. So it
Okay.
really up to the service chair and the persons who are on the project to actually take good notes of
Mm-hmm.
all of these details to be able to provide for the reports. Because like
Okay.
that flow of information coming to the secretary, because remember the secretary may not be on every project.
That is true.
So they really need to have that sort of seamless kind of flow or system set up whereby the person who is going to report has the information.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you raised that point because I would have only reported um the project once. Even though it would have had like facets of multiple purposes. So this discussion is very useful. And I believe that going forward, I will be better equipped as secretary in the next line of state year to really improve on the reporting, especially with respect to the metrics.
Yeah,
So
because
for this,
you remember
sorry?
that healthcare will impact two separate metrics in your global causes.
Mm-hmm.
So it will affect the vision
Mm-hmm.
metric and it will affect the diabetes metric. So if
Yes.
you report it only once,
Mm-hmm.
you would have affected your club metrics in terms
Okay.
of the actual outlook
Yeah.
on what you have actually targeted. Now, you may
Mm-hmm.
have captured it in the description,
Yeah.
but because it's in the description, it may not be captured in the metrics.
Yeah.
So that's why you actually have to separate it out um, like that. So sometimes one service activity may generate
Yeah.
multiple reports,
Yeah.
but it's
Okay.
not all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Good point.
Lanchonda, if I may.
Yes.
This is Lan Dave. Good evening, everyone. And Lan Chris, great comments there. Now, what we need to look at when you're looking at projects that cover 2 areas or more, my neighbors decided to talk as soon as I did. Hold on, let me move from where I am. So the fact is that what we need to look at is the number of services or the number of persons that would have benefited from a service, and that would help. So that's the
Yes.
point that Line Chris is making. So if 40 persons benefited from something diabetes related, you're going to describe that, value that. If 50 persons benefited from visual acuity test, you then describe that and value that. So then you don't have the issue that you're thinking of. Because the point is, as he would have pointed out very clearly, we're looking at two different global causes that would have been affected. So it's important that you describe appropriately, value appropriately, and separately.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Line Dave.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the final scenario that I will present is the financial assistance, a service project, and the category would be for other humanitarian assistance. So this presentation was made on June the 3rd. Well, I would say that I would put it in the category for initiatives for the disabled because the lady, she lost her leg due to diabetes. Agree? Any feedback? You hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
This
Shonda,
is
we're hearing
great.
you.
Oh,
That's
okay.
great.
Okay. All right. For this one, I don't have any pictures. So one person benefited. One person made the presentation. So I believe it was just about an hour or so with the lady. That's just an estimate. So in terms of what was donated, it was $610 towards the to assist her in getting the prosthesis leg. I'm not sure of her location, but it was done in Barbados. Received. I don't have any pictures, so we would select report complete. Save. Reporting in LCIF. And service. And you will see that is log here. Right here. Okay. There are other information on the portal where you can see the metrics. I'm not very familiar with this part, but if anyone on the call where you can see like the dashboard of your services. Oh, this looks like as I said, I'm not familiar with the metrics, but I believe you can get like by constitutional area and so on. But we're not going to go into that. That will be like another presentation. Yes, Line Chris.
Right. So
Go ahead.
one other quick thing to also consider. Not all projects is on one day. So there's also an area for multiple day projects.
Yes.
So Lions need to be mindful of that as well. And some projects you may choose to report on a monthly basis, or activities you may choose to report on a monthly basis, as opposed to after each time it is done. So that is also to consider. And on the insights, you can get the insights for your district, constitutional area, wider area, and your club as well. So you can actually benchmark yourself against all of the different clubs in the district and multiple district.
Okay, so can we see that just for the benefit? I know we've gone over
insights. If you go to
insights.
insights, insights dashboard.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you go to the insight dashboard, you notice you're seeing the global insight. Let me see. There is the go down to KPIs and wait. Lions clubs. Go to Lions clubs and you Lions clubs, and you should be able to filter on the end. Yes, on that end, you can filter, and you could filter to see your district, and then you can see your club in the district. So you have to use the filters in that case to see your club. District 60 B. Trust me, there's a lot of playing you have to do, so you could actually allow persons to actually go and explore on their own, because you have to actually you actually learn it by actually doing and going around and fiddling.
Yeah, it's so true, because I'm learning as we go along. Okay. Okay.
So this is why it's so important for the clubs to report, because it's these dashboards that the officers will use to then report on the health of the district.
Yeah. Right. It's one more, service activities. Okay. Okay. All right. In a session like this, we can't cover everything, but I'm going to stop sharing now. If there are any other questions or any insights from anyone in the audience who would want to share with us. Okay. Right. In a session like this, it's difficult to cover all the intricacies of the Lions portal. I would have indicated some useful resources that you can tap on. I will pass on a copy of the presentation to the district IT for circulation to across the district. I'm not sure if it will be posted on the website, but the information, the presentation, a copy of the presentation will be shared. Any other questions or insights before I hand over to Lion Roger?
Just one other thing, Lan Chanda. It's interesting that you would use the word insight so often, considering that we just moved from the insights reporting section of the LANS portal. But LANS and LEOs need to understand how the reporting works and how it affects things as we go along. So that exercise that you just did, and the way that we showed the insights report, as Lan Chris would have mentioned, how it is that we move on that dashboard. It's that very same dashboard inside that we have to use at the single district level as service chairpersons, at the multiple district level as service chairpersons, and even when international directors complement our multiple districts for the kind of reporting or the level of reporting, or perhaps best said, the percentage of reporting, because when you compare to other uh, districts across the world and constitutional areas, we do excellent work in terms of the number of things we report. And it's very important that clubs also understand why it is that it's important that we report. Because in the layers, if you have been listening to the global service team, one of the reasons why District 60A is doing better at reporting than we are in terms of the percentage of reporting is because we have a number of Leo clubs who are either dormant or simply not reporting. And where it is that they have Leo advisors, a Leo advisor can report on their behalf. And all these things bubble up to affect those numbers that you're looking at on the insight report. So there, some of these things generate that. But as you said just now, not everything can be said within an hour and a half session. But there are just so many things that connect as it relates just to the secretary's reporting. Thank you, Lanson.
Yes. Okay, you're welcome. Thanks, Dave. If there are no other further questions, I want to take this opportunity to thank all those persons who would have given feedback during the presentation, which made it more meaningful. And there's a lot more work to be done. Over to you, Lion Roger. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lion Shanda, for this very informative session. I want to express on behalf of all the participants here our deep sense of gratitude and appreciation for your willingness to share and for the way in which it is done. Very active, hands-on type experience that allowed each and every one of us on this training session to be able to see it in real time and to participate in the conversation, sharing their own experience, making it that much more meaningful and rich. Thank you so much, Lion Shanda. Thanks to all the lions here on this platform and in this session. Hope that the information shared here today will be useful in your reporting activity. And as you take on the responsibility of leadership in your various roles, that this material will help you to make the experience that much better. Thank you all for participating. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you so much.